that works. Kevin McCarthy.
But in this bill that you say you put people before politics, you put $410 million for border security in Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Tunisia, and Oman.
No.
You will fund walls and technology to protect the Middle East, but not to protect America.
You got to be kidding me. $410 million on the phone with us is U.S. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. Tell me that is wrong. $410 million border security, but not in America?
That's exactly right.
Oh, my gosh.
Restrictions on money that they cannot spend on the border. I mean, you have restrictions on that. But good morning, Paul. Thank you for having me on. I'm sitting here in Washington, D.C., and the fun is about to begin, I can assure you.
Well, I no doubt it's going to be more fun than it was last year with the help of a little help from the other side of the other chamber. You went to Eagle Pass, and that's more than Joe did. But tell us a little bit about your experiences there.
Well, Eagle Pass is kind of the hot spot right now.
Yeah.
That's where they're having the most to come across, and it changes, but right now it's Eagle Pass. And it was an all-female delegation. We went down and we met with the Border Patrol. We met with the folks that told us about a program, Operation Lone Star. But one of the main things, Paul, is we met with ladies. We had a round table that had been human trafficking. And it is just some things that you'll never get out of your mind what these ladies tell you. And they felt pretty open to talk to other women. And it was Katie Britt, the new senator from Alabama, Marshall Blackburn, and myself were there. But to sit down and to realize what is happening with these smugglers bringing these women across for the sole purpose of sex trafficking, human trafficking, and the money is unbelievable there. It's gotten to over a $13 billion business. But there's so many things about the border that are broken. And my takeaway from that is we've got to address border immigration policies here in this country. They haven't been looked at since, I think, like 1996.
Yeah.
In Rankin County, we have that breakfast over there the first Saturday of the month, and I was there last month, and I met a couple in Rankin County. She was from Mexico. Her husband is from Rankin County, and and they're legally here. Her mother's a pharmacist in Mexico and just wanted to come visit the grandchildren. And she can't. This pharmacist in Mexico cannot come to the country to visit her grandchildren and return. So that just tells you how broken this policy is that we've got to take a look at. But if that's not enough, just the overdose deaths that you're hearing about right now and the need for Narcan, because all of these people that are trying this are getting things laced with fentanyl. And we sat there on the side of the Rio Grande River early in the morning, very cold, watching people illegally cross that river in those freezing temperatures. Maybe not freezing, but 30 degrees, 40 degrees easily. Some of it was above freezing. But how cold that water was. And those people willing to come across. We have a broken problem. It's kind of like, Paul, having a broken pipe at your house, and all you're doing is buying mops. You're not fixing the problem. This problem could be addressed, and if we just had the chance to bring bills forward to address it. But when you hear those stories of children, 10 years old, 14 years old, one of the ladies we talked to had been trafficked from the time she was 12 until she was 16, and she was rescued. You have people down there that are trying to rescue these young girls. And, people ask the question, well, why don't you run? When they tell you what they do to the girls that run, I assure you, nobody is going to run.
We have
it's a true problem.
We have this killing in California. A lot of people think it was MS-13 or gang-related as far as the cartel is concerned. And when they kill somebody and the entire family, they want to make a point. They want to make a statement. And they do it in the most heinous, and horrific ways. And this matches a lot of that. But it's a little disconcerting, and you would think it would be to the Democrats also, to understand more and more it's kind of trickling out that, hey, look, guys, the cartel, they're in control absolutely on the Rio Grande side of Mexico, but they're getting more and more control on this side. And as they threaten some people who are in positions of power, and they start mentioning their family's name, their children's name, and they start threatening like that, maybe we're down to where Trump says we need to call the military out.
Oh, there is no doubt. And they refer to it as cartel-style killings. So when they chop the arms off, that is referred to as cartel-style killings. And that's exactly what they're doing. So when all of our Border Patrol agents are dealing with 200, 300, 400 coming across to be processed, and they hold their hands up and they claim asylum. And when they all know that word, they may not speak English, but they all know asylum. And when they come across and say that, you have all these thousands of people coming through this process center. We went to one process center, that migrant processing center, and the question was asked, what's this process center costing this country? The answer is that we verified is $16 million a month. And
wow.
We have 5 on the southern border. $16 million a month. Every 4 weeks, the taxpayers of this country write a $16 million check to process these people that are coming across. I, for the life of me, cannot understand why this administration cannot see this for what it is. Nobody is that incompetent. I mean, there is no way this is not either gross incompetence, which it is beyond that, or if it's just by design. It has to be by design. That is the only plausible answer, that you could allow this to go on day after day after day and not even go down there and talk to those migrants.
Cindy Hyde-Smith, U.S. Senator, was that cost inclusive of the cell phone that everybody got? Because I saw one picture in the news a couple of days ago, somebody climbing over one of the fences, and they were hanging on, but they were dialing somebody on the cell phone. I thought, how do you have service? I mean, I'm not sure where that person was from, but they were ready to cross over into America, and they were on the phone making a call. We have a story here that a surge in Cuban and Nicaraguan arrivals at the U.S. border with Mexico in December led to the highest number of illegal border crossings recorded during any month of Joe Biden's presidency. So it's not going down, it's going up. This was on Friday. U.S. authorities stopped migrants 251,487 times along the Mexican border in December, and that's up another 7%. But I want to ask you, when you say that they stopped the migrants, what does that mean? Did you actually turn them away, or were some of those let go and processed?
Oh, no. They're when they come across, they're funneled to buses that they're put on, and then they go to the processing centers. Nobody's stopping anything. We did have some Texas National Guard folks in a boat out there, but that was just for drownings. You know, if one lady we watched come across, an elderly lady, I will never get this picture out of my mind. She started slipping, and her family was trying to hold on to her. So the river was low that morning, so they were able to cross. They had a coyote in front of them, a human person that was, finding the way. But the money is so unbelievable that a lot of times they have cell phones before they go into the river. But on the other side, that's when they have people to meet them. The cartels are loving this open border. They're loving it. But the money is no problem. They have the most sophisticated drones. They have the most sophisticated technology, equipment, cameras set up on the other side. And they fly those drones across because they are making so much money in the trafficking end of this, and to hire somebody to get them through. Now, there's one group, and of course we're speaking through translators, and I said, did you hire a coyote to get you through? And they came from Ecuador, and they told me they did not. And these people are pretty truthful coming across. If they hire one, they'll tell you, and they'll tell you how much they paid them. My family paid them $5,000. One young girl came across, and she just had her nails done. Her manicure was perfect. She had on leather pants. But, honey, she came through that river, and she told me that she did not pay anyone, that evidently her family could afford to send her across. But I mean, you just have
hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, too. We got a quick break, and we'll be back with more. Cubans, by the way, were stopped. Cindy Hyde-Smith is our guest. Cubans were stopped 43,000 times in December. That's up 23% from people from Cuba. Nicaraguans were stopped more than 35,000 times. That's up 3%. They're coming from all over the world, not just Mexico, into this country, and we have no idea where they're going. On the air, live from Washington, D.C., it is Cindy Hyde-Smith, U.S. Senator. I'm glad to hear you say that we do need some type of Republican brought forward immigration deal. The last one we had that was pretty darn good, to be honest with you, was back in the Trent Lott days when it was almost accepted, but it just turned sour. And do you think that's a possibility, that the House and the Senate would get together as far as Republicans and present some type of bill, or is it just too far-fetched to say this in this political environment?
Well, now that the Republicans have control of the House, we certainly have a little more bargaining power than we did, and hopefully we can bring that forward. But the Democrats that so far that I'm aware of are not interested. And, it's just there's no way they can turn their back on this any longer. And because even the senators who have border states or from border states are turning to vote with us more often so they can get reelected. But look at Arizona. They reelected a Democratic senator over a Republican in Arizona. I just don't understand that with what they're living through and going through on that border.
Yeah.
You think, how did that even happen?
When you start to, I saw this, Cindy, the President Biden ended the polling week last week with a daily job approval of 45%. And I said, how can this possibly be right? How does a president as inept as this guy gain a daily job approval rating of 45%? If that's the case, what not Hillary Clinton, but with Nancy Pelosi once said that we could get a glass of water elected. She might be right.
I think she may be. And, what they're dealing with now of the classified documents, they found these before the midterm elections. That's what, many people don't realize is they were found in a private office kept by Joe Biden here in D.C., and on November the 2nd, before the midterms. Well, they didn't bring it out until January the 9th. So that's when they disclosed that, 2 months after the midterms is when they let that out. So they're timing everything to their advantage because they could at that time. And, it comes out a single page, and then it's 5 more pages, and now we have more found. It is just the Wild West. And you just think, whatever happened to law and order here? Because what hypocrites of the way that they went in on President Donald Trump to make such a to-do that days of news, live coverage at Mar-a-Lago to get those classified documents, and they sit on them too much. And then, by the way, this is what's happened when the House became Republican and they knew Republicans were coming after them.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, and I mentioned this yesterday, I haven't heard it in the news anywhere, and I haven't checked in the last 24 hours, but seems to me, and I think everybody understands, that the Democrats are turning against this guy, and then you got to ask why, and the question could be answered if we just knew how this initial investigation, who made the call to go check the documents or his all of the stuff at his house, who made that call, and why was his lawyers doing this? And if we answer that and find out how that initial spark of this investigation began, we probably know if or if not the Democrats have turned against their own guy. And if they have, probably for 2 reasons in my mind. Number one is that this guy is damned and determined to run again, and nobody can convince him not to. This would take care of that. And number 2, and I sincerely believe this, that if the Democrats can prove that, hey, look, this sin was so bad that even a sitting president has to either resign or declare that he's not going to run again, so therefore a former president who also has classified document problems will not be able to run. And then they kill two birds with one stone. Your thought on that?
That could be the angle that they're coming at. That could be exactly it, because I don't think anybody's turned on him. I think that they're trying to decide what path forward would be best on reelection of the president that they want. And, if it appears that, okay, this is what it needs to look like, everything is a scheme. Everything is a game. Everything is, calculated out of what can we do to stay in control. And so whatever it takes, that's the plan they're going to come up with to stay in control. But it is just, you never know. And I told my husband I was really glad to get back to D.C. to hear what the cloakroom chatter is of what really happened. Because, when we get together and we'll all have lunch together today, that's when you kind of find out what's been said or who told somebody that this is what's going on. So you find out pretty much the real scoop when you get back here in D.C.
Here, make sure you text me the scoop when you find out after that coffee club crowd, okay? Cindy, thank you, ma'am.
I can certainly do that because
appreciate you as always.
There's more to it than what you are reading.
I know. Cindy Hyde-Smith, U.S. Senator, and we thank you so very much for spending the time with us, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Thank you.